Hey guys, I just finished doing the other art fair LA, which is a art fair put on by Saatchi Art Gallery online, and they have them all over the world to showcase the artists that they have on their website and their gallery. So they have one in LA, Dallas, New York. They have one in London, in Chicago, Tokyo. So all different places all over the world. I definitely heard good things about it, and so that's why I did it. And I wanted to just make this video to help artists with what I learned, basically. It was my very first time, so I am not like a long-term professional, but I have been a professional artist for a few years, and I have learned some things, and this art fair honestly just went so good for me. It was really, really exciting, and so I just want to share my experience with you, what I went through, and then share some tips and just anything that I think would be helpful if I was an artist watching this, because going into it, I didn't know what to expect. And so I called on my artist friends who are mentors who have done lots of these art fairs, and they gave me some really great advice. And so I just wanted to pass it forward because my YouTube is really just for encouraging artists, like not for selling art, not for anything else other than to just encourage artists, sort of be a friend to artists, put myself out there, because we all need some encouragement and companionship. And that's the cool thing about YouTube, is you have all these best friends that don't know who you are because you're watching their YouTube. Anyway, okay. So first things first, what does it cost? So to be at this fair, it was $2,300 for a 16-foot booth, which was 8 and then 4x4, and then it goes up from there. So really big ones, probably 4,000, medium, maybe 3,000. And the size was actually, it was a decent size. I think next time I would like to do a medium size, have more space, but they're 10 feet tall. So what I did was I ended up putting a big piece on top and then a big piece below, a big piece on top, a big piece below. And then I actually really did have enough space. So, yeah, moving forward, I'm going to be doing different things with the kind of paintings I bring. So that small booth actually might be just right on point. I heard at the LA, so I just heard, but I heard the LA art fair, then it cost more like 8,000 to 15,000. So this was a relatively inexpensive fair for what it was. I mean, it was big, it had music, it had dancing, it had a bar. Everyone who bought a ticket had like a complimentary drink, and we're walking around, and it was a great, they made it into a really great space and venue. I know there was celebrities there. I didn't know who they were. And different things, TV, like KTLA and different things were there. So it was really nice. So for the price, totally worth it. And going into it, I actually did really, really well. I'm really proud. I sold about 12 paintings. It's 10 to 12 paintings. And then I sold probably 8 prints or so. I can't really remember, but I did really well because going into it, I talked to a friend who told me that at these fairs, the best way to go is smaller paintings and prints. So what I was going to do, because I'm thinking, oh, fancy LA art show, go big with like your big, nicest pieces and get them framed and do only that. And if I would have done that, I would have sold 0 pieces because none of those pieces sold. I had all of those, and people really liked them, and people almost bought them, but they were higher price range, you know, $3,000 to $4,000. And I almost had a sale with that, but didn't quite have a sale. But what I did have a lot of sales with were medium-sized pieces. So medium to me is like 24 by 30 all the way down to like 16 by 20. And so the average price for like a good painting was about $1,000. That was like really what was selling well. I think that's because for, you know, a middle income family, that's not a big deal if they really love an art piece to buy a $1,000 piece. And it's also like a substantial size. It's not like tiny. It's pretty big, still a statement piece, still worth it. So I just know next year I'm going to be doing a lot more medium-sized pieces. I'll still bring some big ones because they help sell prints. They definitely stand out. They definitely show just like skill and hard work and really bring in the people, I think. And then the things that are a little less expensive but equally cool are what are selling. So next year or in September, I plan on doing, big ones and then just like all around it, like medium-sized ones on each wall, and then prints. Something I also did well that my friend Rita told me was to do small paintings, and those really sold really easy because they're like $200 to $300 this big, and they're just like the same kind of thing as your big paintings but smaller. And the one annoying thing about that is small paintings still take a lot of time. Like, I think they still took me 3 hours each. So as far as bang for your buck, they're maybe not necessarily the best, but it really feels good to be writing ticket sales and like getting things moving out and having empty spaces in your booth that say sold or have little red dots, because it builds on demand. It makes you look more popular. If people are buying from your booth, more people want to buy from your booth. So I really think, I had, I think 8 small ones, and I sold all but 2. So that was really cool. And the 2 that were, there's one that I love that no one bought, and then one that I didn't really like. So, yeah, that was really, really good advice that I got from her. And then lastly is to make prints of your really nice big ones. So the ones that are a little more unaffordable, that take a little longer to sell, that probably are better selling. Yeah, people have to think about that price a lot more. It's not just like, oh, I'm just out with my girlfriend and I spent $4,000 on a painting. That's the kind of thing where usually like husband and wife think about it and they make decisions, and so it's just a slower move. So anyway, if they really love your painting and it's really big, having prints available is really the way to go, because then people can get those. And prints, you can still make a good amount of money. So a print would cost me $17, and then you sell it for $120. There you go. You're making some money. You're helping yourself make the money back. And do not feel bad about having higher print prices, because it costs so much to be an artist. It costs so much for our supplies, for our canvases, to buy a booth, to get there, to set up, your time, your energy. That is why original artwork and even prints of original artwork are priced the way that they are. It's because it actually takes lots of time, love, and energy and skill and practice that goes into these things. So definitely don't feel bad. I only say that because I raised my prices and I felt bad about it, but then I looked around, I actually had the lowest print prices around, and maybe that helped me sell more prints. I don't know. Okay, so there was that. And what you're gonna need when you're there, you gotta have oh gosh, I don't even know what it's called. You need some sort of a cart to pull in all of your paintings. So that's something to think about. You can't just like show up and lug tons of paintings over to your booth. So be thinking about that. You need some sort of a cart wheelie system to get your paintings over to your booth. I bought, on suggestion, and it was awesome, a director's chair to sit in, because it was 4 long days standing on cement. And having a director's chair, then you have a back and you have a footrest and you're up high so that you can look people in the eye when you're talking to them. And I think that is really smart, because a stool is up high but very uncomfortable, and then other chairs are down low and you're looking up at people like this, and that's awkward, so don't do that. Other things you're going to need, so you use screws to mount them into the wall, so you need screws and a drill and a small ladder so that you can get things where you want. These walls were 10 foot high. I think that's probably pretty normal, like a normal building. I know that some art fairs are outside, which I've never done, and I know people get sort of the wire wall that they put up. And I guess you'd put wire and hang your paintings that way. I've never done that, so I can't speak on that. And you definitely want lots of water and food, and yeah, you just have to be prepared for a lot of standing for a long period of time. So as far as sales go, what really worked for me was just being extremely friendly. So when somebody came by my booth and they were just staring, I could tell they're really like taking it in. I would, ask them, oh, are you having fun? Oh yeah. Oh, you like bright colors? Yeah, I like bright colors. Oh, which one are you drawn to? And then they would tell me which one they were drawn to. And then from there, I can tell them what it means to me. And then I could ask them, what does it make you think of? So then they're thinking about themselves. And I think just talking about them a lot is really important. Like, how's your night going? What were your favorite artists? What do you think about this piece? What do you like about it? And then they start telling you about their life and themselves, and you're telling them the meaning of the piece for you, and they can tell you the meaning of the piece for them, and everything's connecting, and that helps you make a sale and make you memorable. Because what I noticed was most people, I was lucky, I was sort of at the front middle, and so most people will hit the first ones, but they're going to look through the entire place and then come back to the one that sticks out. So if you have a like cool conversation with the person, then that is really going to help them remember you and then come back. And I did have a lot of success with that. I had people come back and be like, oh, I was between this and this, but I just want one of yours. And I do think it's because it was personable. And okay, my phone cut off, so here we are back. I was personable and I talked about them a lot, and I also talked about myself if someone seemed interested. So I think if people are asking you questions about yourself, answer. But if you're just like, oh, me, I mean, they're there thinking about themselves. They're there thinking about them. They're either trying to just have a good time and look at art. They're an artist. They're trying to get inspired. Or they're a collector and they're trying to connect with art for themselves. So talking about them is important. That being said, though, if somebody asked me about myself, I would tell them my story. I would tell them a little bit about my past with drug addiction and coming out of it and becoming a counselor and then becoming an artist and healing myself through my artwork and how it's healed me drawing empowering women. I told them about different success stories I have, like a really cool painting that sold to a really cool person. Just little things that make them excited about you and who you are once you feel like they're interested in you. So don't push yourself on them, more ask about them. Once they're really interested, then really open up. Tell them the things that you're excited about, that are interesting about you, and just who you are. Even if you're brand new and you don't feel like you have anything interesting, I feel like that going from nothing to something is actually really cool to people. Like hearing about how you were just doing something and you decided I want to be an artist, and like that's really inspiring for people. So be inspiring. So yeah, lastly, I wanted to talk about when you don't sell anything. So I think usually when people don't sell anything, it must be just pretty heartbreaking. I just can't imagine, because you're wearing your heart on your sleeve. Like, what you sell is literally your heart and your babies. And if no one bought a baby, it's like, oh my gosh, just, I want to quit, you know? And I feel like it's that way with Instagram for artists. We like make a masterpiece, we put it out there, and then if we don't get enough likes or enough comments, we just feel defeated and sad for the whole day. And that makes basically no sense. There's two reasons artists feel bad all day. Either their painting is looking bad or they didn't get enough attention for their painting. And it does take some grit and determination and dedication to be an artist. And I think going into these art shows, you need to realize that it might go that way for you. So take that into account. Like, it might be a no-sell weekend. So I heard from like lots of different artists that sometimes they have amazing shows where they sell tons, and sometimes they have like, I sold nothing, or I sold one thing. And they said, it's the same art, it's the same artist, it's the same show. So don't let how you did at one show determine what you do in the future, determine who you are as an artist, determine even if your art is good or bad. I've definitely seen artists not get enough attention quick enough and flip styles, and they did not need to because their art was already super cool. So don't chase attention. Like, just do your thing. Continue to try to be you as much as possible. Just really shine through as yourself, what you think is cool, what you think is awesome. Don't copy what you think people want to see. And realize that it just takes grit, determination, hard work. I think the artists that do really well put so much work into it, and it really shows. Whereas ones that I was seeing, not all, okay, but some that I was seeing, you can tell that they don't paint very often, and their paintings were kind of all over the place, and they were very good paintings. But it's like, it's not a strong voice. It's important to work hard, to have a strong voice. When people look at your wall, they see who you are, what you're all about. Boom, it hits them in the face. Even if it's subtle because you're a minimalist, it's like whatever it is, it's very similar, has a strong voice, has a strong aesthetic. And I feel like it feels more trustworthy that way. You're like, oh, this person really cares about their career, really cares about their art, really worked hard. I want to invest in them, you know, instead of like, oh, this artist looks sort of like a student and is doing lots of different studies. And although I love that work, I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be as successful. It's not as strong of a voice, and it doesn't showcase, I don't know, your brand and help people connect to you, because you're trying to connect with the people that are like you. Like, what I noticed was, okay, here's a good point. I noticed that everybody that walked into my booth dressed like me. Like a moth to the flame comes like everyone who dresses like me. And it's just so cool because it shows that like my aesthetic is in my paintings and it's attracting people that are basically just like me. And so you want to just be yourself. And that was my next point, is to dress like your art. Like, definitely dress like your art. Whatever your art is, just match that in your wardrobe. So I was wearing my bright colors and my funky stuff, just the things that I like to wear. And one day I almost wore like this really bougie outfit that I have. It's like all black, looks like a celebrity should be wearing it. But then I didn't wear it because I thought it just does not match my vibe. So I went with the bright orange romper that day, and it was, you know, I probably got more attention for the romper than my art. So that's cool. Have your outfits help people or help people like connect with your art too. So anyway, think about that. Match your art when you go in. So I believe that is all for this video. I went over all the stuff, what you're gonna need, what it costs, mindsets going in, how to sell to people, how to dress, and also to just have a good, healthy mindset of, you know, if you don't sell anything, it's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That lots of artists go into it, and sometimes they sell really well, and sometimes they don't, and it's just the same place at a different time. So don't feel bad, and just take that into account. You will give away tons of business cards and flyers. You'll get a collection of emails. I met the art advisor for Saatchi Art. That was a big deal, you know, meet somebody who is a good connection to help sell my art in the future. So getting yourself out there, even if you're not selling art, you're getting connections, you're getting seen. People are following you on Instagram. They fell in love with you. They can't afford you now, but they can afford you in 2 years. So the more that you do these things, the better. And it's going to just keep growing and growing your career. And anytime you're dedicated and putting yourself out there, I believe it is rewarded if you keep going. So keep going. Just go do it. It's a fun experience. Invest in yourself. And it's super fun to get to share your art with the world in person, because paintings are so different in person. You guys can't see. There's all this texture. There's like a cloth painted under here. This is a ticket, you know, like you just can't see it unless you're here. And so it's really cool to get to show people in person. So I hope you liked this video. If you had any other questions, please comment them below and I'll totally answer. I'd also love if you subscribe to this channel if you are an artist or just a person who likes watching artist channels. Subscribe to this channel and like this video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.